Hello, beautiful people. I'm Deja Riley.
And I'm Alicia Ferguson.
And you are tuning into Dose of Duality, the podcast where we dive into deep conversation, cultivating community around the state of coexistence. You know, I feel like I should get that.
Boop,
Right?
ba, ba. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Season 2, episode 3.
Yes.
How you feeling today?
I feel good. Honestly, I am like in awe of us right now. We explored a lot in the first season, and we're really gaining traction, gaining structure, gaining an audience and a community that
Yay
we're
us.
like, yeah.
Yay, all of us.
Yay, all of us.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a moment of being just very proud.
Yeah.
I feel really good. The sun is shining.
Mhm.
I got my thigh meat out again, okay?
Just 2 days in a row.
Listen.
I don't even, who are you?
You might not see me go back to pants. Now, if it rains, that's a different story. If it feels a little chilly, that's a different story. But I might be in shorts forevermore, at least through the rest of the summer. So,
I'm here for it. I support you.
thank you so
I'm
much.
affirming the thigh meat.
Listen, we all got to do it. You got your thighs out today too, okay? Looking good, looking good. How are you feeling though?
I feel good today. I think, and in this moment, let's just say in this moment, because it goes moment by moment, day by day, wave by wave. But yeah, I feel really good today. I've just been grounding more, trying to in the present moment and just who I'm around and just trying to live in the space of positivity, y'all.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in this world, and so you really got to protect your peace out here.
You do.
Mhm.
And our next guest, our guest of today, that is giving us our dose of duality, reminds us that we have permission to just be.
Yeah.
And reminds us
Oof.
that however we need to show up in that moment, we just
Mhm.
got to figure out the right tools, the resources, the things that we need to lean into to support that.
Yeah. So since you already kind of gave them a little clue, Shell Wooten is going to be here with us today. I'm
Yes, she is.
but Shell Wooten is here with us. We are so excited to have her share all her wisdom, y'all. There was just so much that was imparted today. So she has 25 years in therapy and in the coaching business. She has her own, so please contact her. She is a healer. She's a helper. She's just a beautiful human, a beautiful soul, beautiful spiritual being. She's a mother. She's a sister. She's our homegirl. She's our mentor.
Yes.
I don't know if she knows that yet, but
No, we're
now-
telling her now.
Okay,
we're telling her now.
now you know. Yeah,
You know, okay, so I have to get to the mentor part because this amazing woman that I follow and that I actually got to be on her podcast, Brooke Devard,
Yeah.
she's all things beauty. And then looking at her, she's just all things beauty. But she had said something about mentorship. And she was like, I just want to let everyone know you don't ask someone to be your mentor. And this is the reason why. Because I was like, well, why don't you? And then I watched the whole video. And basically she was saying that can be a heavy piece for somebody who would be a mentor. And usually they're very busy people.
Yes.
They have their own careers and lots of things moving. And so what you do is you go and ask them for a very specific piece of advice or information that you need. You're creating that space for mentorship already, but you're not directly asking them the question, will you be my mentor?
Yeah.
Because it's such a heavy
It is.
and hard question. And then the mentor on the
too.
the mentor on the other side, you put them in a tough spot because they're like, okay, can I carve out the space for this person?
Yeah.
I want to take this person under my wing, but I don't know.
And somebody like me, I'm a planner, so I'm do I need a programming of how we're gonna navigate this mentorship?
Yes, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, we're softly, we're softly asking, but
She is.
she is.
But we're going to be discussing the art of communication today,
Yes.
which is needed in all types of relationships. It's honestly the foundation.
Yeah.
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 My mom says it's communication, it's sex, and it's money.
Well, Michelle also talked about sex and spirituality.
Yes.
And talking about, we talk about how communication happens in various different styles. If we go and Google it, they'll try to narrow it down to 6 styles or something, right? But there's so many different styles of communications and there's so many different ways to communicate. And so Lachelle dives into that. She talks about living a selfish life.
Love that.
Which I love,
Yep.
which tends to have a little bit of negative connotation on it. But truthfully, she gave it a positive spin.
Yeah.
I needed to be selfish, but I was also teaching my children that they can also be selfish and look out for them.
Yeah.
And the number one relationship, we keep coming back to that, is the one with self.
With self. And I love that she leaves us with like practical tools.
Yes.
So it's a conversation. There's tons of things to be taken, but you can also like walk away and implement some of the things she's saying like now.
From principle to practice, as Chrissy says. So without further ado, we're getting into our dose of duality. Here we go, y'all. We have an amazing guest today.
Ciao.
Honestly, just being in her presence, she poured so much wisdom into us. And I couldn't stop thinking about her when I went home from that dinner.
Yes.
And I was like, we have to.
Yeah.
We have to have her on our show. Top of the season. So without further ado, we already talked about her a ton in the intro. And we're just gonna let it keep flowing. We're gonna let the conversation keep flowing. Shell Wooten is here with us.
Hello, ladies.
I love the like fingers that came out.
The jazz hands.
I have
shoulders.
boobs, so I always shake them.
Come on, show off.
I'm always at Mardi Gras.
We love it. And we love that you are here with us.
I'm happy to be
We're
here.
so grateful for you saying yes.
Absolutely.
And for you being willing to just have a conversation with us.
Oh, for sure. Conversation is my thing. And also, I love what you're doing, so I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, today we wanted to dive into the art of communication because every relationship requires communication. In fact, whenever I would talk to like an older couple and ask them like, what's the secret? Or like I would talk to older friends and ask them, what's the secret? Everyone says communication.
Yes.
Every healthy relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we wanted to dive into that today. But before we get into the fullness of the conversation, we have a little game we like to play to break the ice.
Okay.
So we're going to say a word and you just say the first thing that comes to mind, super quick, like rapid fire.
Okay.
And don't worry about it making sense.
Yeah.
As long as it makes sense to you.
Got it.
That's all
come from the heart.
Okay.
Come from the heart.
Yep.
All right, let's go.
All right, here we go. Sex.
Good.
Oh, yes. Texting.
Exhausting.
FaceTiming.
Love it.
Attachment.
Feels good.
Family.
Love it.
Old friends.
Love it.
Therapy.
Fantastic.
Stonewall.
Horrible.
Brain.
Active.
Marriage.
Lovely.
Code switch.
Exhausting.
Spiritual.
Enlightening.
Black women.
Phenomenal.
Connection.
Necessary.
Healthy.
Needed.
Loud.
Great.
Talk.
A lot.
That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect.
We have to talk a lot.
Did any of those words stick out to you the most? Was there like a favorite?
Sex and spiritual.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They're the same thing.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Do you feel like they
100%.
okay?
Yeah.
Can you talk more about that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, let's talk about
sure.
it.
And
Let's talk
honestly,
about
if you're listening to this on audio, y'all, I'm so sorry because the facial expressions that you gave were everything for each word. Yeah. Like run that back if you're just listening on audio.
Yeah. Sex and spirituality are very much the same thing. They really are an opportunity for us to be purely expressive of what we feel without the interference of mind and body, even though the body especially is involved, especially with the sex, and the mind can be involved, especially on the spiritual side. But both of those are really opportunities that we don't take enough to just express what we are feeling.
Yeah. I like to think of sex in the same way that I think of movement, and it's like the body speaking.
Yeah.
And then I like to think of spirituality or religion or whatever as the soul speaking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're spiritual beings, right?
100%.
So like in ourselves, like that's how we communicate. I think we've been removed from that piece, right? Because it's like, we'll say woo-woo, right, is the word, or people just like aren't connected to it anymore. So it's like cognitively it needs to make sense, or like physically, tangibly it needs to make sense.
Yes.
But we're spiritual beings, and so we have to nurture that side of us. And so when you were talking about
100%.
that sexual piece, it's like that is the most intimate space that you can like really engage with and like allow someone in. And so it definitely is a spiritual practice.
It is. And it's funny. I'm so woo-woo. And it's funny because my last name is Wooten. 10.
Yeah.
So I'm woo times 10.
You the woo-woo or the woo-woo.
Honey. Woo
Queen
is
of
the
the
best
woo.
place to be.
I love it. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that we broke the ice,
Yeah.
we like to set the intention
Okay.
and really set the tone for the space. So Alicia brings lovely cards. We usually just narrate as she does this piece so that the listeners aren't missing out on what's actually happening.
Okay, wonderful.
So here we go. Alicia is shuffling the deck.
I wish we could do like an ASMR to be like, they would
sound.
hear it, right?
So she's shuffling the deck here.
Okay. I love
She
decks.
is going to smoothly lay out these cards face down across
Okay.
the table here.
Got it.
And then we are going to, after we lay them out, we're just going to get grounded. We're going to take a deep breath, and each of us are going to choose one card.
Wonderful.
And then each of us are going to read it, beginning with you.
I love it. I'm down for it.
Yes.
I do this in my coaching. I
Do you
have a
really?
deck of angel cards.
Yes.
I lay them out in front of me because most of my coaching is virtual.
Yeah.
And I do my session, and then before I wrap,
Yeah.
I just pick up
Channel
one
their energy.
and I
Yeah.
show them what it is.
Ooh,
and it
that's
usually
amazing.
is so aligned with everything we worked on in
Yeah.
the session.
Okay.
I'm a newbie coach. And so this
Use
is,
it.
yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, you want me to pick?
yes,
And just
you're
take a deep
first.
breath, just ground your energy, and then go for it.
Here we go. Lachelle is reaching
Oh, I love this nail
for the
color. It's like
card
cloud.
here.
She's a lovely pearl accent nail color.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you got yours.
I have mine.
Okay, so Deja is removing herself from the mic. She's reaching forward. I'm going to be very detailed, very detailed. All right. Card's been selected.
Yes. And now Alicia's turn. She's grounding herself with a nice deep breath. Little sigh there, reaching her hand out. Ooh, I love your watch. Looks great. And she selected her card. All right, Lachelle.
So you want me to
begins
read
with
this
you.
full on?
Yes.
Okay. I am transformed. I see the beauty of change. Everything I've been through transformed me into who I am today. I am so much braver. I am so much more caring. I am so much more emotionally intelligent. I am so much more open. I will continue changing and improving. I am transformed.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
That is me all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any particular part, like? feel-
Yeah, I always look for change. And if I don't see it, I try to make change because when you're changing, you know you're living,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And so the groundedness that we did before, it reminds me of I've done so much in my life from one position for years. I lived in the same building for like 40 some odd years.
No way. Here in
Yeah.
New York.
In
Yeah,
New York?
in
I was
New
like,
York.
that feels
No
like a New York.
way.
Yes. And it was so foundational for me
Yeah.
that I was able to like jump off of there and just go try out the world
Yeah.
and always had that place.
Yeah.
And so when I decided to move and leave New York,
Yeah.
right? I was worried at first. I was like, yikes, right? Am I still going to feel
Mhm.
this sort of grounding?
Yeah.
And I discovered the grounding was really internal.
Yeah.
The physical building and the neighborhood that I knew so well
Yeah.
was really just symbolic of what I had developed internally.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
love that. Because people
Yeah.
see change sometimes and it rises fear and like
It does.
anxiousness.
Yeah.
Because it's the unknown.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure where the journey or where the path's going to lead.
Yeah.
And so I love how you frame that as like, no, I'm kind of like pushing for the change.
And listen, the
Because I know I'm
familiar ain't
growing.
always great.
Oh, child, we just be comfortable.
Listen, I know. Sometimes it just feels so cozy.
Yep.
It's like a cocoon. So
Even
I'm
if it's
like,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
It's like, well, I know it.
I know
Yeah.
this
You know what to
uncomfort.
expect.
Yeah.
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 Right.
I
And
know how to
that's not
adjust for these needles that are sticking me, but I know how to like adjust.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we get we get numb because we
Yeah.
there's too many lessons there. My brain just went off.
But so good. I love that.
Yeah.
I am transformed.
I am transformed.
Okay, here we go. I am perceptive. My intuition is powerful. When I am unsure, my intuition is sure. I strengthen my intuition by trusting it and responding to its impulses. I am perceptive.
Mm.
I like that. I like that a lot because I actually, in this year, starting from January all the way till now,
Mhm.
have been more perceptive and leaning more into my intuition than I ever have in my entire life. And I must say
Yeah.
that this has been, thus far, the most magical year of my life.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think like just allowing myself to say,
You know.
Mm-hmm.
because oftentimes we know deep down inside, but we don't always lean into that. We don't
No.
always follow that.
No. Because we're calculating all the outside stuff.
Yeah.
Right? What will they think? What do they need? How can I get it done? I don't see the road forward.
Yep.
We calculate. There's no reason to calculate any of that.
Yeah.
Because you do know.
Yeah.
What you don't know is how. And that's what makes us uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're like, how is this going to happen?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that is just like none of your business.
Yeah.
It is zero
What
business of yours.
Auntie Tab say? And that's your business.
And that's your business.
And that's your business.
Yes. Yeah. How is never, ever, ever a question you can answer. How and why, I don't bother with.
Yeah.
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 Ooh.
I love that.
That was really good. I felt that for you though too.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I got your card from yesterday.
Oh,
all right.
yes.
I'm a freestyle.
Right.
I'm a freestylist. So, I am free. I release myself from the thoughts and feelings that have held me back. Shame, embarrassment, self-doubt. Don't live here. I'm free.
I like
That's
it. I like it.
what it is.
Okay.
How's
If
that
y'all
feel?
can't see, it's because it's kind
I know.
of, these cards have been well loved up on.
I see.
But I let my intuition guide me
There
to
you go.
fill in what I thought it might have been.
And then
There
the
you go.
freedom came.
Yeah. I am feeling, I've had a heavy weekend and I
Okay.
feel lighter today.
Good.
And nothing shifted, just my perception and my perspective when
Yes.
it shifted. But
Yeah.
everything is still everything. And so I love when it says I release myself from thoughts and feelings that have held me back. It's just like, I can't control it. And so if I can't control it, I gotta let it be free. Like I just gotta let it go. Yeah. And just do what I can. So I'm definitely feeling freer today. So I receive this.
That's dope.
Yeah.
And the shift
love it.
actually also was that you picked, remember, the same card 3 days in a row. Like
Did
when you picked
you?
it for yourself, she kept picking I am open. And then she's like, again, I got it again.
It was a message.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your perspective shift
Yeah.
actually did open you up.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to get more open about, again, the house.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No idea.
And I got to stop focusing in on that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of brain energy that's going towards trying to figure out. And I'm just it ain't my business.
It's not your
That's
business.
God's business. It ain't my business.
No.
Yeah.
And
Let me
I'm
give
just
you a
gonna leave
story
it.
about that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
please do.
When I moved, my whole family moved to North Carolina
Mhm.
in 2021, I think. And I took my mom in advance because we were all in New York to look for a place to live.
Yeah.
And I had looked up places 55 and older. I wanted her to be in a groovy community, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And because she's retired. And so I looked up places and made appointments.
Yeah.
So we're flying to go see these places. And while we're flying, she looks at me. She's like, when are your appointments? Because she knows I'm moving too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I didn't make any. And she's like, that's ridiculous. Well, we're here to find where we're going to live.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it'll find me. And so she rolls her eyes. She's like, you. What do you mean it's going to find you? I'm like, it'll find me.
Yeah.
Sure enough, the first appointment we had for her, we go, they take us on a tour and they take us to a model apartment,
Mhm.
which has a balcony. So I step out on the balcony to see the view. And across this parking lot is this gorgeous, French double doors, corner balcony. The building looks different than the one we're in. So I say to the woman on the tour, I'm like, is this your property as well? She's like, no, those are our neighbor. And I was like, well, are they 55 and older? She's like, no, that's just regular. So I go around the corner and when we leave this appointment and I'm like, let's just stop in here. I want to just get their information. Just the balcony looks so beautiful. Well, I could go on, but long story short, I moved into that very apartment I saw.
No way.
That balcony.
No
I look
way.
at the balcony I was standing on every day.
Wow.
That was the first 3 hours of landing and starting our appointment.
Wow.
And my mother was so sick of me. She was like,
Because it's the eye roll of and you did. You did.
Right.
in the first 3 hours of landing. So the how, I knew what I wanted. I was clear, right? I knew the energy I wanted it to have. I knew what I wanted, in the apartment. I knew I wanted a top floor. I knew how many rooms. I knew I wanted a balcony or a patio.
Yeah.
I knew. And I was like, it'll find me.
Yeah.
And it did the minute I got there.
That clarity piece is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Clarity.
I have to be clear on what the request or what my ask is, and then it can come.
Communication.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Circle back. Take it back.
Even with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't do that often. We
Yeah.
think a lot about how we're communicating with everyone outside of us.
Mhm.
But that is sort of handled when you are communicating clearly with yourself,
Yeah.
right? Because you're showing up very clear. And so your communication, no matter what your style,
Yeah.
will be very clear to others.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we don't give ourselves that time to figure that out.
Yeah. Oh, that's
That
good.
was really
Yeah.
good. That
Yeah.
was really good.
Yeah.
All right, you want to narrate? I'm taking the cards back.
Yes.
I'm gonna put them back in the case.
Placing the cards back in the deck. She's gonna gently place them back in her case.
Carefully.
Ever so carefully
Yeah.
for next time. We appreciate that. Lachelle, oh my goodness.
Yes.
I feel like we just don't have enough time.
I know.
Like the conversation that we had before this, I was like, oh, this is so good. Like, and I feel like, the art of communication is such a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
And duality shows up in so many ways. And so I just first want to kick it off to you and allow you to just start the conversation out however you feel like it should kick off.
Yeah. Communication is probably the most useful activity between human beings, right? Because we can do it in every way, right? We can do it verbally. We can do it like in writing. We could do it with our bodies. We could do it with our eyes. We can do it culturally. Like there is no limit on communication style.
Yeah.
Right. And if you like Google communication style, you'll probably find like 6 or 8.
Yeah.
But there's like a million, right? Because there's also like the communication style where you see someone and you automatically know that there's like a vibe there.
Yeah.
Or like you need to not be near that person at all, right? Or there's something that needs to happen with you.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is communication is not really mental. And we do so much thinking around communicating, right? I can think of millions of times in my life when like, I think of my friend Lewis who was like thinking about like breaking up with a girlfriend years ago. And he like called me to go through the breakup speech. And I was like, this is not going to work because you're practicing right now and you don't know like the circumstances, how you're going to feel in a moment. Like, is she going to show up? Is she not? Like, what's going to happen? And sure enough, it didn't work. At all. Like he ended up almost having to stay with her another couple of years.
No way.
Couple
Literally.
of years?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Yeah, because he went to say that we're done and she was like, I'm having your baby. And he was like, oh.
And he was not prepared for that.
No. So his whole speech went out the window.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine
okay.
if you went through the same speech. You got the news and you were like, but let me stick to the script.
Let me go to line one.
Line one.
But Lachelle, okay, so I don't know if you've ever seen this show. It's on Hulu. It's called The Rehearsal.
No.
Oh gosh. I think the guy's name is John something. I can't remember. But my husband and I watched the show, right?
Okay.
And it's about rehearsing scenarios that you feel uncomfortable in. And so they try to throw every possible like variable
Monkey
at you or
wrench.
like, yes. And you go into a space that they like actually create a set where you will actually have this conversation. Oh my goodness, you have to watch it. It's on HBO Max, not Hulu. HBO Max called The Rehearsal.
All right.
And I was fascinated by this show because I was like, wait, but when he really actually gets there, is it really going to go down like that?
Never.
Yeah.
And it's never quite lands.
No,
the
life
way
is
that you
completely unpredictable.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes me go back to the intuition piece though.
Right.
Like, and why we have to be like attuned to that. So like as these things come up, it can be like an authentic response.
It
What you
will
really
be.
need as opposed to like what I think I might need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this show concept.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm going to watch it,
Yeah.
but to me, it's going to show really just how ludicrous it all is.
Yeah.
Right? You can't rehearse for anything.
No.
Yeah.
The best rehearsal, if you think about how you want to communicate to people you're in relationship with or the world, the best rehearsal is really understanding yourself around the thing,
Mhm.
right? Because I tell people I coach and students I work with all the time, the safest place to be is knowing who you are. It's the safest. I don't care where you are in the world. If you know who you are, you will feel grounded, steady, and safe. And so if you have a big promotion you want to get, or you want to ask someone to marry you, or you really need to get clarity about how you really feel about this situation, not all the variables, right? What if they say no? What if I get fired? What if all of those things are not going to help you, because who you are when you're rehearsing, you will be very different by the time you get there, even if it's only a couple of hours later.
Yeah.
We are constantly changing.
Yeah.
Constantly, right? I remember feeling one way getting on the train, going to work when I used to work in the city, and like having a conversation with someone that literally slightly changed who I was as a human being by the time I got off the train. And so anything I might have been preparing for, this new version of me is going to show up and communicate. So everything that I practice and sort of bullet pointed, it really goes out the window. But if you try to stick with it, you are very uncomfortable.
Yes.
Resistance.
Very uncomfortable.
Yes. Now, you talked a little bit about there being like a ton of different communication styles.
Yep.
What do you think are the most effective communication styles?
The ones that start with listening.
Okay. Like that.
Big time, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's not verbal communication, if you fancy yourself a curious person, you will be the most effective communicator. Even if it's like you did something that really pissed me off or hurt my feelings. I really want to come at it like curious as to what got you to where you were to do what you did that made me feel how I felt, right? Instead of being like, I'm going to make sure you know, right? Because that is just one-way communication. And that doesn't mean that like you're not hurt or you're not stunned or disappointed or surprised or whatever the feeling is. Doesn't mean you don't have that. But if you're curious to understand what went on that got y'all to this like clashing point, then you're really an effective communicator. Because then you're going to respond to what you've learned, not to what happened in the past, even if that was 40 seconds ago. Right? We do spend a lot of time communicating about the past. And that is not getting us anywhere near where we're trying to go.
Yeah.
Can you give like, so one of the things I heard was, it honestly feels like it starts with relationship with self first.
100%.
Right? And then how you feel around, you said like the different situations and scenarios. Because when you're clear, then I can communicate what my values are, what my stance is, what I'm willing to accept, right?
Yep.
And those boundaries. But can you give some examples of what like curious like communication like looks like, or curious listening is?
Perfect example. I have 2 children who are now grown men. And they do all kinds of things that I have zero understanding. Don't get it at all, right? But it's not my journey. But I do want to understand in certain scenarios because they include me in the process of whatever they're trying to do. So I want to be comfortable too, right? So I'm like, well, what is it that makes you feel that you need to do this now, right? Instead of being like, you're bugging, this is cray, what's happening? I'm like, well, what is it that makes you feel, right? And I'm very intentional about the questions I ask, because I never ask how and I never ask why. I never ask why. Well, why did you do that? Nobody knows the answer to that question, right? But I'm like, well, what made you want to do that now? Right? And so if you ask what and when, right? And in some instances, how can be helpful. How can I help you? Right? Then you're a curious communicator. And then when they start to tell you what went on, because you didn't see all that other stuff, then you actually come out of the sky with the rage and all of that. And you come down to sort of like this equal playing field where you're just learning. Now, you may end off saying, that doesn't work for me, and you move on, which is great. But you don't move on without some understanding, because then what you do, when you move on without understanding, you leave them, but you carry all that crap with you. You carry all that crap with you. And so it's like, you might as well just still be next to them. Right? And because they're going on and they may be carrying crap too. And if you're carrying the crap that you didn't take the opportunity to understand, then you're not living your own life.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 2 questions.
Dig in.
One,
Mhm.
this is a little not off topic, but
Yeah.
for the folks listening, are your sons single? Because the
Both of
tools
them
that you've
are.
given them, they seem very emotionally available
They're amazing.
and aware.
Yes. My sons are very single.
Okay, ladies.
Yes, very single. And they're very emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, because
Yes. But I will say this, it's not necessarily because I taught them that, but part of it is how I engaged with them. And it was selfish, right? Like, everybody listen up. You are here to live a selfish life. Right? So I wanted to enjoy my life even though I was a mother, right? And so I was like, yeah, I want to like take these vacations and find someone to leave these kids with. And, you know, and I have people in my family and friends who are like, you can't leave them, they're too young. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm going. Right? But what I did was I think they learned emotional intelligence because one, I left them alone, right? To find themselves and figure themselves out.
Yeah.
Right? I put up little guardrails and was like, you know, when you go bowling and the kids get they put the rails up.
Yeah.
I put the little bumpers up, right? But I just let them bang into them, right? I don't really lean in. And then the other thing was like, they got to watch me communicate with them so I could have what I wanted. Right? So my communication with them was really not about like, I need you to do this. It was like, I need to do this. So that means I need you to figure out how you're going to do that because I'm going to be over here and you'll be over there. And so I think that's how they learned emotional intelligence, because I wasn't asking them to be or do anything for me. I was asking them as partners in this communication relationship, like, here's who I am, which requires these things. So how are you going to fit into that?
Yeah. Show up. Yeah.
Right. And so they figured that out.
I don't hear partnering too much when you talk about like parent, like child relationships.
All partnership.
It feels very like it's hierarchical.
Like I'm authority figure. Yes. And then you are the child, you stay in a child's place.
No.
Children
it's
are
all
seen, not
partnership,
heard.
right?
Like
That's
that
communication again. Is every relationship is partnership. Even if your child doesn't speak and they're like in a pamper.
Yeah.
Right? Because a baby can ruin you. Like I figured out when I had a child, and when I say ruin, I mean like every plan you make is soft, right? Every plan you make from the time you decide to take on the role of parent, every plan you make is soft. Even to this day, my children are grown and something could happen, right? My son can decide he wants to go bungee jumping in Bali. Break a leg, right? And they got to helicopter him somewhere, right? And he left his insurance card at home, right? He's calling me. So if I had plans to be on the beach in Miami, done. I got to go and, right?
Yeah.
Or find someone else, which I do that too.
Yeah.
I'm doing something, but I got somebody for you, don't worry, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like everything is partnership. There is zero hierarchy in humanity.
Yeah.
We say that there is. I'm your boss. Yeah, but if I don't do my job, what kind of boss are you?
Yeah.
Because like you're not going to get what you need if I don't do my job.
Yeah.
So I'm not higher than you or lower than you.
Yeah.
We are all partnering, right?
Yeah.
I'm a partner with the person I come up in an elevator with.
Yeah.
Because we have trusted this machine
Together. Yeah.
I don't have to talk to you at all, but you might feel uncomfortable and maybe you're claustrophobic and I might feel that from you and maybe I'll say something to make you feel a little bit better. And then when you get off, I'll say goodbye. That partnership was short-lived, but we were in it together.
Yeah. Oh, I really love this idea of seeing everything as a partnership.
Everything.
Because it brings you back to this very like grounded space where we all get to live. And then it's like this idea of like, well, no one really needs to struggle for the power of something.
No.
Because we all have an important role in this partnership. And so no matter what that role is, it's significant.
Yeah.
It's significant to the moment.
Absolutely.
And I love the idea of even thinking of somebody in the elevator or somebody that you are ordering coffee from. Or
there's a
whatever
partnership happening.
Yeah.
An Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's intimate. intimate.
That's a very intimate.
I'm trusting you with my life.
Yeah.
I sure
while I'm
am.
in this car.
And you trusted me not to get crazy in your car.
That part.
Remember the Uber pools back in the day?
Remember Uber pools?
That was even more intimate.
That was even more intimate. But y'all were all in a partnership in that moment. And if you look at life in that way, you will communicate very differently.
Yeah.
That makes you really realize the humanity that exists all around us. Because sometimes it's only when I'm in like very intimate relationships or these close bonds where I see like our interconnectedness.
Yeah.
But it's, again, like everyone, you can't see the cameras, y'all can't see everybody behind us, but there's people behind us, and it's like, they're not here right now on this couch with us, but they're a part, right?
Right. Because this wouldn't
we're
happen.
all interconnected,
Absolutely.
like at this moment. And there's this, I was diving deeper into just like a more Afrocentric worldview. And there's this word called Ubuntu. And so it's like, I am because we are, right? And so it's acknowledging that like, we all exist, but it's because of the collectiveness.
100%.
Yeah. We said that I just did that class with Girls Mentor Girls, and they taught me how they close their circle. So it's this nonprofit organization by this amazing Black woman, Michelle Jarvis.
Love her.
And she basically started this mentorship program that starts from middle school and goes beyond. So she keeps these girls for life.
Yeah.
And the high school girls mentor the middle school girls. And then the college girls mentor the... It's the most beautiful, just like collective of beautiful Black women. And so, or women of color, actually. And so she closes the circle every day or every time they're together and says, I am because we are. And then they repeat, we are because I am. And I just love that. It's like the circle of life. You know?
It is.
Like,
Yeah. But again, like I'm used to looking at it in like these close, intimate relationships.
Absolutely.
And not acknowledging the humanity that just like exists all over, like the cup of coffee. Remember you were telling me that story the other day, or I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago, about the person got a little snappy with you.
Oh, yeah.
And then they apologized the next day. But like, because
I was at Starbucks and he was just having a day. And so he got a little sharp with me at Starbucks. And I was still being, you know, kind. And like, I was having a great day. So I was like, let me let this energy just trickle on over. And then I went back to the same Starbucks the next day. And I saw the same guy. And he said, hey, when I saw your name come up, I knew I needed to make sure that I came over to you. I needed to apologize. See, yesterday was just a tough day. And he told me some of the things he was going through. And I said, that's okay. We all have those days.
You see?
And it's all right. And he was like, oh, thank you. Thank you.
And you see that? You had a partnership with him that first day. And he recognized his communication in that partnership. And then he came back. And he had another communication to rectify that.
Yeah.
And it almost reminds me of you when you were talking about your sons, like you modeled like the style.
Exactly.
So then it's like a chance or opportunity for the person to be like, all right. Let me, I'm reflect on this. All right. I didn't show up maybe in the way that I would have wanted to, especially when someone's like modeling what they value in communication.
And when he communicated with you the second day, he got to leave the crap. Because had he not seen you again, he probably would have held on to it. Right? Or saw you and didn't take the opportunity to communicate. He probably would have been like, I should have said something to her. This is terrible. I wonder if I ruined her day. Like, and then if you're thinking like that, you're not thinking about you. You're not listening to you. Which is what you're here for.
I do this, like, it's called Sunday Soul newsletter. And what I just wread about on Sunday, because you just said crack, so it triggered me. And it was like about emotional constipation. And so I had to acknowledge, I always do like a personal share. And I was like, this was something that I actually struggled with. And I didn't know that's what it was called, right? But it was just like that bottling up of things. And I'm laughing because one woman wrote me back and she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She was like, I got toilet paper for both of our shit now. She's like, I'm glad we get to let it go. Being emotionally constipated. But that when you're talking about like bottling it up and not sharing and not being honest and authentic with how we're feeling, we're like being passive aggressive or we're even being manipulative, how it can come out sometimes.
Two very popular communication styles.
It's just like, just let it go. But that's communication style, being assertive and sharing.
Absolutely.
Like owning that, right?
Or being passive and not saying anything. That's not good.
Well, speaking of sharing, this is the part of the episode where we're going to toss it to you and give a little dose. So what is brewing up, maybe it's with, your own clients or something that you're seeing out in the world, but like give us a little daily dose of like something in communication.
The dose that's coming up for me is around friendship.
Okay.
Right? Especially sisterhood friendship,
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
Women.
Yep.
Because I've had the opportunity in my work with my clients, but also in my circle of like family and friends, there's been a lot of girlfriending happening lately.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like the feeling of like we're all really back outside, right? Yeah. But there's been a lot of girlfriending. So for example, my sister who lives in the South flew to New York overnight to hang out with her girlfriends who she's been friends with since high school.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right? And they literally got together at one of the girlfriends' houses and they ate, they cooked, they made their own ice cream, they drank, they laughed, they danced, they did all of this. And I thought about them as a collective, there's 5 of them.
Yeah.
Because they've been friends since high school and they're all in their 40s now. And I thought about the phases they had been through as friends. There were times when 2 were closer than the group. And there were times when one was out of the group because they were on a journey of whatever. And to see them all come back together and communicate about who they are. Like some of them have kids, some has a grown kid, someone just had a kid, someone never had a kid. There's all of this stuff that we don't typically communicate that we are going through, right? Because we forget that we're here to live a selfish life, right? We don't typically communicate. And so the people who are tight with us, our friends, our siblings, right? They don't really know what's happening.
Yeah.
So they're communicating with the version of yourself that you're letting show. And when you do that, what you do is you actually stunt and put roadblocks in these relationships that really have value for you. And we try, especially with our friends, we try to show up and give that great energy, but we don't always have that. Or if one friend doesn't have great energy, we try to dampen ours down. Like, But like you just said, when you went and got your coffee, this guy was going through it and you were like, I'm just gonna still be me.
Yeah.
It was easier for you to do that with a stranger.
Yes.
But if you had got that coffee and sat down with a friend who was like, oh,
I would have been there with her.
You would have went,
girl.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
what
right?
we feeling today?
Right, what we feeling? How we feel?
Yes.
Right, but I heard this thing recently with Abraham Hicks. And if you don't know who Abraham Hicks is.
We know who Abraham Hicks is.
She says this thing where she says, I can't get poor enough to make you rich. I can't get sad enough to make you happy. I can't get sick enough to make you healthy. And what that means is I can be next to you, but I can't join you in those spaces that you're in on your journey that are not aligned with my elevation. I don't have to dump you, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, wait, we mad at him? Okay, hold on, right? Let me take, what we doing? I can't do that, right? If that's not where I'm at, right? If I am there, I'm there. We're there. We got this, right? We'll go down this hole together. But if I'm not there, I can't communicate on that level with you. And we do too much of that. And that totally jacks us up. Totally jacks us up.
I like that quote.
Isn't that great?
I'm going to carry that with me.
Yeah.
That's so true. What is it in us as human beings that makes us want to be so agreeable or in alignment with whenever we're with someone, especially someone we deeply care about? What is that in us?
I think that historically in all societies, we have done a number on ourselves and made the priority being liked by other people. That is not the priority. Right? Because you will find that people that even do things that for you is absurd, you like them because they're being them.
Yeah.
Right? Like you may think, for example, like a nun probably thinks that Cardi B is too much.
Yeah.
But she likes her.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are too focused on making sure that how we show up is liked by others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The real problem is everybody likes different things. I can never show up to please even 2 people,
Yeah.
let alone 1
Yeah.
or 10 or 40 or 10 million.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What people love is authenticity.
Yeah.
And that's where you feel the most comfortable.
Yeah.
Right?
It goes into like, I think, respectability politics and
Yes.
people just trying to like fold into that because it's
Yep.
like these are the societal norms.
Yes.
Yep.
So I
Yes.
just want to like be, respectable and in these boxes. So I'm
Yeah.
like checking them off and I'm not like offending anybody. But then as I'm hearing you speak, it's like, but then we're offending ourselves actually.
We
Yeah.
are
Or we get more and more disconnected from like
who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're a shell of who you actually are.
Yeah.
And all that juice that is really you, it's just you're using a lot of energy to tuck it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone else in the world is not getting what you came here to give.
Mm.
Right? That's what I said with
Yeah.
my sons. It's
Yeah.
like, oh no, I'm going away for 7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody else gonna watch you. What you need? What do you need
Yeah.
to be okay while I'm going? Because I'm going.
Yeah.
Right? But people love authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
You mentioned the mass. Well, you didn't say mass, but I'm taking it as mass.
Yes.
Like within the friend groups where it's like you want to show up upbeat and like, but no one wants to be the downer. I think
No
that's
one
what
wants to be the downer.
It's like, oh, all this stuff's going on, but like I don't want to share because I
Yeah.
feel like I don't want to bring
I don't
the
wanna dump it on you.
Yeah,
You hear that
crowd
all
down.
the time.
Yeah.
So I guess what would you like advise or say for someone maybe like going through that?
Yeah, be down by yourself. If you don't want to
Okay.
bring a group down,
Simple.
be down by yourself.
Get out by yourself.
Yeah. Right? Like if you're feeling
Yeah.
like crap
Yeah.
and you don't want to crap on others,
Yeah.
go crap by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And when you feel a little better, you'll be a little better.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you might be like, I feel like crap, but maybe being with my homegirl might
lift
feel
me
better.
up. Yeah.
So what I'll do is my crap will come with me, right?
Yeah.
It always does. But I'm gonna let her lead. When I get there, I'm gonna just
Yeah.
sort of be a blank slate as
Mhm.
opposed to coming in with my suitcase
Yeah.
of problems. And she may be like, yes, right? And I'll feed off of it.
Yeah.
Or she may show up like, girl. And I'll be like, oh, good girl. 'Cause
We both bringing the crap.
there we go, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But if you don't want to do that,
Yeah.
take your space,
Yeah.
right? And go to your therapist, go to your coach, go watch some videos, read a
Yeah.
book, take a nap, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Sleeping is great.
Rest.
It's a great reset, right? Because usually when you don't feel well, you're processing it, a lot of it mentally, not
Yeah.
enough emotionally.
Mm.
We process all of it mentally, right? We start asking ourselves, why? Why do I feel this way? Why did he do that? Why did she do that? Why are they cutting jobs? Why? But it's not helping you at all.
Yeah.
We should be saying, how do I feel? And what could make me feel better, right? A big challenge we have is we think, well, if I feel this way, then we go to the standard things. Let me take a nap. Let me go to the spa. Let me get my nails done. Let me eat this pint of ice cream, right? But what we really should be thinking is, what are things that I actually enjoy that have nothing to do with what I'm feeling bad about,
Yeah.
right? If I enjoy sitting by water, then I'll go sit by water.
Yeah.
It's not directly going to affect or help the issue because the chances are you can't do nothing about the issue.
Yeah.
If you feel bad, the issue has already happened.
Yeah.
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 And so why don't I just take my bad feelings and go do something I know I like?
Yeah.
And if I feel like I won't be able to pull myself out enough to be okay with the friend group, then I'll pass on the friend group for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be like, I'll catch y'all another time.
Yeah.
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 I like that.
There's
I
so
like
many
that.
gems.
So many.
Like,
And there were two things in that I wanted to touch on. One, the nap thing.
Yes.
So I had an ex-boyfriend who every single time things got tense or we got in a bad argument, he'd just take a nap.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was like a
It's a
useful
reset.
tool. It
It's
was
such
like
a good tool.
Yes. And he was leaning into that. I mean, like,
And you were
were you
furious.
angry?
oh, you're just going to go to sleep?
Yeah.
You're going to go to sleep on me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and so it used to fire me up inside. Now, in hindsight, he was leaning on something that was useful
Right.
for him
Yeah.
in that moment, that was going to support him in being able to come back to the conversation.
To the partnership.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I love that you touched on that. The other piece I was going to say was the idea of again, masking or coming into the group and like just trying to like put it on. I had a friend as we were going through a friendship breakup literally say to me during that, and this still sits with me, and this moment just like, whoo, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
She said to me, I've never seen this side of you before. And I realized in that moment, and now even more so as we're having this conversation, that she had never seen that side of me before because I never allowed her to see that side of me being that vulnerable for. So I was stepping into the space trying to be jiffy and cheery and always be that uplifting friend when really I had other things going on and I wasn't sharing it with her. And that was actually unfair. It was this idea of like, okay, I'm going to always show up as this way to you. So then it's shocking, obviously, when I show up, you know? So thank you for helping me.
And it's not only unfair to her and your partnership, but it's unfair to you. Because you're just carrying all this weight. Right? You're just like constantly performing.
This weekend, similar situation was happening to me. And I'm the friend who's like cheery. I was even talking to you. I was like, when I don't feel that way, I feel weird because I'm like, wow, like I'm used to charging my own battery, honestly. I don't even need y'all. I just give me the space to be silent, do my thing, and then I can recharge. But in the last year, I tried to start letting people in that way, but it was really difficult because part of me would feel like this, almost a shame of being like, this makes me feel like I'm not capable to like handle what's happening if I allow people to see me down like this. So like, you could always recharge, so why can't you recharge? And so I was just like, but again, it stops me from having these deeper connections. And if this is something I'm saying I desire, especially with like your home girls, like I'm like, no, like I need to let you in. And it was just the most uncomfortable process. Like, so, cause I'm like, are they judging me? And then it's like, I don't like, and then again, they're like not used to me showing up this way. And so it was a learning for them as well. And so like yesterday, me and my friend, love you, Tiffany, shouts to you. She met me in church, right? And I'm in there, I'm gonna be real, y'all. I was in there acting a plum fool. I went with no makeup because I knew the tears was coming. I said, let me not even play myself. I'm coming ready to cry. And be like, come help. And then again, usually I'm you hear about this, and that blank slate thing. And I didn't have language for it, but that was me. Like I was like, thank you for coming. You already knew I feel blessed. You showed up. And I just let her take the lead. And she's another person, like duplicate of me, just always got energy, always got something to talk about, say. She can meet anybody on the street and have a whole full conversation. And they're just like, you were delightful. Like, wow. So I let her take the lead. And by the end of our little coffee date that we had, like I felt so much better. So much so, she's like, you want to get dinner later? And that's when we had dinner. I was like, I want to get dinner. I was going to go home and just be sad. But like, I'm ready.
We feel shame with people who know who we've shown up as. And if you want to get out of that, I always suggest start doing it with people you don't really know, who are way out on the periphery. I did that one time. When I was married, I was having an argument with my husband in the car, and we pulled into a gas station. I was so upset, I started like crying, but I didn't want him to see me cry. So I held back the tears. I go into the little mini mart in the gas station, and I'm like picking up nothing. I don't know what I'm going in there for. But once I come in the door, it's just me and the guy who works in there. And the tears I can't fight them. They're coming down my face. And then I go to the counter with the pack of gum. I didn't even chew gum. I just had to do something with the pack of gum. And he turns around to face me, and he hands me this cup of like heaven. I don't know what he made, because he saw me crying. And it was warm and it was creamy. I don't know what it was. But I am telling you, it just cracked my soul open when I drank this. And he literally just slid the gum back to me, and he looked at me and he was like, you're gonna be okay. He didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And it was so good because at that point, this was years ago, I rarely cried in front of people. I didn't even want to cry in front of my husband in the car, which is why I got out while he was pumping the gas.
That hit. You saying that like hit so hard. Because again, it's a practice where I'm and it just came up recently. Like I was walking home and I'm crying in the street because I'm like, tears are beautiful. Like you don't need to wipe them away. I'm just gonna cry. But like, and it's funny also as a side note, but like when men look at you and they're like, I don't, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, just let me cry and walk.
Get it out. Yeah.
But a person that I'm seeing now, like I was FaceTiming and I was like, I can't do this right now with you. Like, I need to, like, figure it out a little bit more before I'm ready. And honestly, you just made me feel so much better because you were like, you married. And you was like, that's still a thing.
I was married.
Yeah.
And it was a thing, right? I was really, like, trying to hold up. I don't even know what the personality was at this point. It was so long ago. But still, it was something.
Yeah.
And that girl didn't cry. And I was like, and this is my husband. Like, if I can't cry with this dude... Right?
Who can I cry with? Yeah.
But I cried with the little gas station dude.
Yeah.
And I didn't even want him to see, but he peeped it.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at chips and all this stuff, and I'm like, what am I going to buy? Right. And the tears are just coming down both sides of my face. And he, he fixed me with a cup of something. Yeah. I don't know what that was, but
it's like chai. I don't know what chai
probably was.
It makes me feel like
it probably was.
Some cup of love.
It was a cup of love.
Yeah.
Fixed me completely.
It also makes me think about the levels of intimacy and just how we grade those. Because if it's your husband, it's like there's so many like financial intimacy.
I was way more intimate with that man at the counter than I was with my husband in the car.
Yeah.
Which shows communication doesn't have limits and it doesn't have tiers and levels. I should be more intimate with this one versus that one. No.
Yeah. I really love that. I think it's beautiful. It reminds me again of just coming back to that even playing field of like agape. And it's like, we can all be in the same place and all have like this same like common ground together. Yeah. If we just lean into natural communication.
That's it.
I love that. Yeah. You gave us so many things to put into practice.
Please
I feel like you have to come back.
You do.
I'm happy to.
Honestly, we would love to have you back. Yeah. Before we let you go, can you tell the people where to find you?
Or us.
Yes.
Yes. I love the They can find you at Shimmy Shake at Mardi Gras.
Yes. I am Shell Wooten on everything. Okay. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yes. I have a podcast, Abandon Ordinary. Which is all about teaching you to abandon your ordinary ways of being so you can live an extraordinary life.
Yes.
So you can, I have a website. Everything is Shell Wooten.
And we'll link you.
Yes, we will.
Please do.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
We'll link you. Michelle, thank you so much for blessing us with your
presence. You have one word of wisdom for the folks that you just drop on us and leave us with?
One word?
Yeah.
Be.
Oh, yeah.
Just be.
Yeah, just be.
Just be.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. And thank you all for tuning in, for listening, for just taking the time out in your day to be with us, to just be. I am Deja Riley.
I am Alicia Ferguson. And this is your weekly dose?
Yes.
It's your weekly dose of duality. We'll see you next time.
See you, friends.
Peace, y'all. If you have enjoyed this episode of Dose of Duality, please do us a favor. Share with the homie, and subscribe. We love hearing your feedback, and trust us, we respond to everything.
Sure do. And don't forget to rate and review this podcast. Come back again next week for another Dose of Duality.